And here's my story about my brother without using any bad words. Hi, my name's Shelley. My dad was Gary Crenshaw of Lee Summit, Independence, William Chrisman High School, CMSU, Southwestern Bell, Lee Summit, what were they called back then? Alderman. He was actually also the president of Lee Summit Sports Association, or, recreational sports, etc. Not until he was on his deathbed in 2021 did we learn that my brother, that I was the oldest of three brothers. I'm sorry, the oldest of four, three younger brothers. I learned when my dad was passing that he also had a son right before I was born. So this son of his would be maybe 63 years old or around that time. It was distressing, to say the least. I have been someone that's always been madly in love with my brothers and very protective of all three of them. My youngest brother is up in heaven. And on December 25th, I had a medical emergency. I've had a lot of medical issues. Our family is laden with autoimmune disease that comes straight from my dad's side of the family. And I decided to make a video as I am beating my head against walls. I think the older baby boomer and silent generation thought it's just best not to talk about things. And my generation and my authenticity isn't okay with that. Especially after I heard for the third time in a row from a gifted woman that told me exactly the same thing that two other gifted women told me about the fact that, yes, this young man, because I feel like I'm kind of young. So I am 60, getting ready to turn 61. He would be maybe around 63 years old. My dad had a brief affair with a woman and they had a son. My dad, I know that he moved around a lot, and I know that he went through some very unfortunate times. Let's just put it that way. Someone in my family, my dad's cousin, without being asked or without informing us, contacted my brother. When I go on 23andMe, I can see that I have a half brother and we share the same father. And I had been told by gifted psychic mediums, because nobody in my family would speak about this young man, that my brother, that this man was looking for us and looking for all of us. So of course he was, because there he is on 23andMe with his two children underneath of him, and it looks like maybe he would have even grandchildren under one of those children. But he has set his name to private. I went in and put in 2021 or 2022, I guess it was, or maybe 23 or 24. I went in and finally put in my dad's information. I have no idea if he has seen any of that information. From the conversation I had last night with a woman that was talking to my dad on the other side, and I know that might make a lot of people think, whatever, but some people do not understand how that works. My dad has been coming through and wants me to find this young man because of the terrible upbringing that he had. That if my dad could do anything over again, he would go get him. He would go get him and bring him to our home. I wish that that could have been done. I don't know that my dad had any idea until after he passed what a terrible hard time my brother had. I've not left all of my personal information on this website. I'm going to put this on YouTube. But my brother was contacted by one of my dad's cousins, who I've never cared for. And after some of the questioning that was done by one of my dad's cousins, who was also trying to hide his daughter from his family, which is a whole nother story, and a man that has been trying to gather all of the family's DNA, and he's like, oh, I'll take care of all of it. And then I was just a little hellion saying, no, my family and I will take care of our own DNA. What's wrong with you? Crazy man. But he had his reasons. So he was always out putting out feelers for everybody. And because of the upbringing that my brother had, he didn't have a lot of trust for people. If any part of what I've learned, and I do believe it is true, based on the things that my father said from the grave, and based on the fact that I've had this gift all of my life, and I've been able to know what it is I should do next. where it is I should go next, where I should move next, what I should do with my career, what I should do with my life. I have had a gut feeling since Christmas when I had a very serious medical condition. I was internally bleeding. One of the things I said in the ambulance was, please don't let me go before I can find my brother, just so that I could introduce him to our family. And this is the least emotional I've been about it, this entire subject. My previous video was laden with swear words, but my dear friend that's going to share this for me, and anybody else that can please share this for me, share in adoption groups, please share in Adoption Midwest areas. This young man would be 63 years old, probably has a high forehead like me, probably has a smart mouth, most likely a funny sense of humor. He might be around 6'3". He probably has curly reddish hair, and he definitely probably has big eyes, unless he looks like his mother, which I do not know who that is. Every single person in my family has gone stone cold quiet and won't tell us anything about this story. That is a baby boomer generation for you, and I'm very, very, very disappointed in all of them. But I do feel the strength of social media, and for people who have found siblings, even when they were contacted by someone and spooked by the questions that person was asking and then put their information on private, I'm just reaching out to my brother to say, you have a sister and 2 other living brothers who can't wait to meet you, and nieces and nephews. We hope that anybody on the internet can help us find our brother. I will go to the ends of the earth to try to find this young man who was my father's son. My father was a great man, and had he known that his son was not having a storied life, I know that he would have done anything in his power to help him. So please share this through the Kansas City, Missouri, the Midwest. My dad worked at Southwestern Bell. He went to William Chrisman High School. I may have already said this. He lived in Independence. He lived in Lee Summit. And at some point he met a woman. They had a child, because that's the way things were back then. Please share this in the adoption groups. If you know anybody with this, it looks like this man has 2 children and possibly 2 grandchildren. I don't know where he lives, but I know he started his life with a mother and father in Kansas City, and I love him. Thanks.